It's literally like like Amazon, there was this massive fire, and it's like this airplane came, instead of like putting the water out, they just dumped fuel, and it's just everything just exploded.
A lot of our locations, like Washington, all of our coaches, they live in areas where they're just like, I feel like it might get stolen and I don't want to be liable for that, and that's fair, right?
Yep. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And so in a situation like that, I'm okay to get PO boxes as well. Every single facility that reopens, I want a picture of all the supplies in the facility. The corner case coaches, which we saw in one location where he just decided to keep the supplies, and I had to step in and essentially say, hey, if you're keeping it, you're stealing it, and I'm gonna have to file charges. And as a reminder, Toronto has been completely shut down. So just go through what they had in stock originally, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I saw that email this morning. She's
Yeah.
going and screening our customers.
Yeah, well, not only that, she's locking the doors. And so what happens is we unlock it, she goes back out and just locks the door. And then she's like, well, I'm not letting you guys in until I take your temperature. Some of the things that she's doing is so overbearing, it's not required by law. Not only that, she's our landlord. She's not our manager, she's not a staff member or employee, and she's also doing it behind our backs, which is a bigger problem. Because from what I understand from Derek, she's one of the main reasons why we're having so much turnover with our staff, is because how aggressive she is. I want to essentially be overcautious at all locations, but this one is like a supreme level of cautiousness that we have to take. And I told Derek, like, any conversation she has with you, record them, because I want to see what she's saying to you. Let her know that you have to record the conversations, because she's more than likely lying to you. Okay, let's I saw your email about him. Let's let him go.
I'm going to call later, just they're 3 hours behind, so I have to call him later, and then I'm going to call Derek and talk to him.
Yep.
And let him know that he was let go, and I already have somebody that I have a phone call scheduled to get a backup in there for him.
Okay, perfect. And if there's ever any pickups, Derek is extremely reliable, great to work with. I spoke with him a few times over the weekend, and
he's taken full control and is in charge of all inventory and supplies. Since we had that miscommunication with Charles, that's what I ended up doing.
Okay,
He's
good.
in full control of it.
Perfect. And I'm not sure if you saw too, if you and Jenny can just keep an eye out for Ontario Stage 3 that's coming out today.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So he's making, apparently Doug Ford's making an announcement. I think it's this morning. We had a lot of locations planned, and by a lot I mean I think 6 to 10 easily in our pipeline that have been worked on for the last maybe 6 to 12 months, sometimes even longer. Like, it takes a long time from when you actually sign a lease agreement to actually getting it opened. Landlords have to do their work. There's just a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. There's a lot of delays that happens in the city. Anyways, we had this one location that was just about to be completed. It was almost done, and the pandemic struck around the delivery time, and I spoke with the landlord, and we had a great conversation. And he was super kind, super awesome. You know, he said, you know what, Mario, like, you know, we're both gonna survive it. Let's both think of the long term. The reality is I'm not guilty of anything. The only thing I'm guilty of is having integrity, because like if he did everything he told me he was going to do on the phone call, we wouldn't be here, and we would have delayed the commencement. We would have been moving into the location. But instead, what does he decide to do? You know, he says, on the one hand, yeah, Mario, you know, no problem. We're going to defer things. We're going to do it this way. You know, I want to have you in there. I'm going to help you out as best as possible. And then, you know, a few weeks later, boom, here's an invoice for first month's rent. And it's like, dude, what is this? And he's like, oh yeah, let me look into it and get back to you. Fucker didn't get back to me. And so it's like,
okay, yeah, the spirit of our conversations with him are completely opposite to his actions after the fact.
yeah,
And you take voice and demand commissions back and so on. So
yeah.
I think what you're doing is absolutely correct.
Okay, cool, perfect. Well, thanks a lot, dude. I'll give you a shout later. I had something else that just came up that I got to deal with. For Ontario
July the
reopenings, we had
17th
high hopes.
at 12:01 a.m. This includes all communities except the following regions: Toronto, York Region, Peel Region, Durham Region, Niagara, Windsor, Essex, Haldeman, Norfolk, Halton, Hamilton, and Lambton.
Fuck. On to the next thing, huh? Oh, did you do it? Nice, victory! Yes! You have no idea how hard it is to make these. Like this is, like I'm so happy right now. Well, some good news. We can make bubbles. So most people don't realize it, but I actually own axethrowing.com and I've just been sitting on it. I essentially have been forwarding it to our main Bad Axe website. But now we're working on a new project and a new domain, and there's a bigger strategy behind it, but right now we can't figure out why it won't stop redirecting, so we can't actually launch the new version of axethrowing.com. And you know, Julio, who's a phenomenal developer, he's based out of Venezuela. He's worked with me for years now. Despite all that, his connection is generally always awesome. Like the fact that I'm able to talk to him is super, super rare. So you'll get a good glimpse of the conversations with me and Julio. Sometimes it makes it easier to speak to him in Spanish to practice, but not this time. The new website that you're working on, axethrowing.com, did that propagate?
Yes, I don't know what is the issue, but the domain is not redirecting. I was checking that this morning, but I haven't found the issue.
Yeah.
Because the domain is already redirected, right? But there is no connecting with the server. I don't know if it was the 301 redirection that is failing with because the amount of time we had that redirection, or is the DNS taking too much long?
Yeah, it's odd that it's taking that long. Could you do me a favor? Would you mind connecting with Mike and asking him his thoughts for it? And maybe he might have maybe a different idea of what, maybe something we're overlooking, but something's not right. It should have been working by now. Amazon is just a monster.
Yeah.
In 2019, 2020, we'll invest more than 30 billion to build capacity tool services, blah, blah, blah. We're on track to open 33 new fulfillment centers in the US this year. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
Holy
it makes
fuck.
total sense though, because like, if this probably like accelerated the demise of brick and mortar by like 5 years at least.
100%. Like it's literally like there's like Amazon was this massive fire, and it's like this airplane came, instead of like putting the water out, they just dumped fuel, and it's just everything just exploded. So not only are Q1 sales taxes due across every single state and every single province, but then you have income taxes. Most people weren't prepared for that. Luckily we were. And so I always left a huge cash reserve on hand. And luckily we did well in saving that money. The majority of businesses didn't. And that's why a lot of them actually went under, is they could not meet the tax obligations for the money and the profits they had made in the year before.
So what's with the one downtown? They're in big trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they had to backtrack on some oath that they had. I have no idea. I mean,
Maybe they'll have to shut down. You can swoop in.
I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of facilities are going to shut down. I don't think it's going to be any particular company, but I don't know. I mean, they're saying that restaurants it's like 53% have shut down permanently, according to some data on Yelp. So the reality is, I mean, I'm betting, and I'm almost 100% certain that Bad Axe will make a loss this year.
Yeah. Well, you can make a loss if it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, the infrastructure is too big, but if not, like you're right. I mean, it can be done through bonus. I just the IRS one, I'm actually comfortable in not paying, because that one should. The amount realistically at the end of the year should be zero, and they won't assess that amount until what, March of 2021. But that's way too big of an amount for us to outflow that money. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's fine. I'm probably gonna have to put some more money into the entity.
Yeah.
And do me a favor, as like a mental note, at year end, even if somehow, some way, we even make $100, let me know so we can bonus that out $100, so we make a loss, or we make nothing.
I don't.
I mean, like honestly, like I'm expecting what we would normally have done in a month, we'll do for the rest of the year, combined. And the thing is like what people don't understand is the pandemic couldn't have happened at a worst possible time because it happened in around February or March. You know this money's coming in. You know based on your previous year's expectations how much profit you're gonna do each month. So then instead of essentially being like, hey, we're gonna owe this much in taxes, we're gonna put this somewhere else. No, you use it as part of operations. Everyone does. And then all of a sudden, the tax bill comes in, it's like, fuck. And now we have zero revenue. It's like, oh, double whammy. And that would have been the much better thing for the government to do instead of the PPP program, is just say, hey, we're gonna waive X. If you're making this much this year, we're gonna give you a credit on your taxes, or we're gonna give you a full deferral on taxes. Yeah, it's tough. All right, what's next?
Game's loose. It's not moving, but it's loose. The knot's on the other side. You can see it, but it's there. In hockey, so the grip tape must work. Wrong sport. No, I'm just used to it.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Golden rotation. I was going for a golden rotation. It's
He's like Jack Black.
No, that's okay. The tag was out. Oh.
Actually, sorry, on that note, apparently a small union of bowling alleys successfully sued the state of North Carolina, and they're opening up again. So that doesn't mean that we can. I read the article a bit more, and apparently the way it works is it's only for the bowling operators that are part of that union, and it doesn't necessarily extend to axe throwing. I have heard of other axe throwing facilities in North Carolina wanting to roll the dice. I don't want to do that.
They should be making an announcement this week because this stage goes till July 17th. So they should be making an announcement about next steps.
We have 25,000 masks coming in. Instead of expecting the customers to have them, we can give it to them at the door if they don't. So the idea is, we don't lose out on revenue just because the person didn't bring a face mask, and those face masks, maybe only cost us 10 cents each.
I heard this past Saturday that calls are still very busy. Someone got like 65 calls a day on Saturday. So short notice bookings and inquiries are still busy during the weekend.
My gut is telling me that this is going to be part of the new norm, is that people are no longer going to book in advance. The way I see it is any phone call that we do not get and that we do not answer is lost revenue, especially on a Saturday. This is the problem with the US right now. Like, one, we're dealing in a country, and then there's a state that has its own laws, so you're technically almost dealing with another country. And then you have a city that's creating their own laws, and it's like you have a country within a country within a country, and then you got to follow all these laws all the way up. Like, it's so ridiculous. From the World Axe Throwing League perspective, we're developing a phenomenal booking engine for them. Mike, who's one of the key developers working on it, on top of with Julio, he's based out of Poland. He's been working on it for quite some time. He's the one that developed the Waddle app. He's been doing some absolutely phenomenal work. So we're just sorting out the details. Most people don't know this, but before I actually started Bad Axe, I actually had a tech and digital marketing company. So I'm actually used to developing software, app development, thinking about user experiences, design, how to get people to convert better, focusing on click-through rates, essentially just improving overall websites as a whole. So Mike, I've actually known for, I think it's close to 8 or 9 years. So I hired him as one of my early on tech leads at Majestic Media before I started Bad Axe. So he and I go a long way. He's one of the best developers I've ever worked with. Absolutely gifted, and yeah, we're just kind of sorting out kind of the final details before it starts going into beta. We essentially, like, everyone's looking for like a booking engine to use, and so we wanted to give everything. We wanted to give the community access to like what Bad Axe has from a tech perspective. Like, if we built the booking engine and the site that we have for Bad Axe for any other client, honestly, what I would have charged. Like, there's been so much that has gone into the booking engine and customizing it and creating custom APIs with like Square integrating it with like a customer experience engine. Like the BADAX site is a monster. Like it's a beast. The whole idea is like, how can we possibly have all of the Waddle affiliates use and trust this booking engine if BADAX isn't using it ourselves? So we're actually going to be moving to it, and the best way to perfect it is us, because we've been booking people for events probably for sure longer than anyone in Waddle has. And the fact that we have so many locations, we're like our customer service team and ourselves will be able to pick it apart. Part of what I want to do for the launch is I want to give it to 2 people in the industry. I'm going to send them a box. The box is going to be at essentially no cost to them, and they're essentially going to pay me back when they start making money. But these are people who create custom handles for axes. They do custom engravings. They shine it. So the 2 people are going to be Hangman, who I'm going to speak to in a second, and Austin Kelly, who is based out of Oklahoma. So both of them are going to get a box each, and people are going to be able to order these phenomenal looking customized butcher axes. So I'm really excited for that. I have a huge appreciation and respect for everything that both you and Austin do, and Austin's fully on board. And the concept and the idea is this: like the butcher is going to sell out. Without a doubt. People have been waiting for about a year and a half. And
I got to see that prototype over the weekend, and man, that is one sexy ad.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to send you a box, and the way like I said, is the way I'd like to structure it is I'll send it to you. I'll eat the shipping charge. Don't pay me anything up front. Pay me when you start making money. Selfishly speaking, I think there's a lot of value in having you market it with some beautiful, touch, whether it's, creating a truly, mirror shine polish on the heads, to, redoing the handle, painting it, custom. These axes in part have taken so long to build because I've been so careful with what the HRC hardness is on this one, to make sure that it hits more on the higher end, and we're leaning more towards a chip if it hits a knot than a bend.
Okay, and are you wanting me to work with the existing handle, or maybe replace a few of them? How do you want that done?
Honestly, dude, like full carte blanche. Like whatever you want to do, it's totally up to you. Yeah, I want to, essentially, I guess what I'm saying is I want to have no creative input into what you're doing.
Okay, yeah, I am fully on board. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep one for myself.
Oh, dude, totally, man. That's totally cool.
Sounds good, brother.
Awesome. Okay, thanks a lot, man. Have a great day.
You as well. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Talk soon. Bye. A script that will essentially check to see if I've been added to another team and provide. Okay.
Yeah, and if all the teams have 2 players and
right.
The players are correct, because as I said, maybe somebody assigned a different player and then removed, and then some combinations.
That totally makes sense. I guess the one thing to think about is what the validation would look like from like from a UX standpoint. Sorry, Mike, I completely cut out my Wi-Fi. I think my kids are hogging up all the bandwidth with their games. Can you hear me better?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a lot better. I'm just hooked up directly to the LTE network. Anyways, yeah. So the problem with LinkedIn has been resolved. It is an issue on their end. They have a system where they will pull like jobs that you've posted on the internet. They essentially have a scraping tool. And so it's completely 100% a bug on LinkedIn's end. We ended up having almost 2,000 job postings go up under BADAX name. And, I've had companies being like, hey, why are you stealing our, job posting? It's very rude. And it's kind of like, no, like we're not stealing anything from you. We're not even hiring for that position. Okay, cool. Well, Mike, thanks again for all the help this weekend, and I'm sorry to again wake you up at midnight or 1 a.m, whatever time it was in Poland. But I appreciate you helping us out. We're stuck in a bind, and I'm glad you're able to resolve all this.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, awesome, Mike. Okay, have a good day. I'll talk to you later, man.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, see ya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello?
Hey, Skylar.
Hi.
Hey, it's Mario calling. How you doing?
Good, good. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Thanks a lot for doing the TV interview today.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it. I wanted to just quickly prep you for it, if you don't mind. Do you have a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I'm just in a Tim Hortons drive-thru right now, and there's plenty of cars in front of me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know whenever you need to order that the double-double. We're going to be operating it almost as like you can think of it almost as like a mini putting a place where you're given your own putter. In this case, you're going to be given your own axe. We say, hey, you know what, hold on to this axe, and feel free to bring out more axes than what we normally do. And then they could even just kind of lay them to the cage to the side if they want, or they can take them with them to the table, and then that way there's no sharing of germs.
Approach
Yes.
regardless, right? Like
Yep.
as a company, you're allowed to kind of set your own policy. So there's no gray area. It's just easy to be like, everyone in here's got to wear one.
That's right, correct. And for all of our staff, we sent out buffs.
I already opened one up because I wasn't
Nice.
100% sure what they were, and
Yep.
I got it on, so I'll be rocking that. It looks cool with the half bad axe face on it.
Go with the flow, be yourself. You're very, open, transparent, talkative. You're easygoing, so you'll do well. But those are the kind of the main things to touch on. Is I think the mandatory mask is going to be the key component of it all. Anyhow, take a look at the facility and let me know. But I'm thinking that we should probably cap it at about maybe anywhere in between 20 to 25 max. And then what you can also do, with which other facilities do as well in the U.S., is they create a waiting list. So if someone wants to walk in and do walk-in axe throwing for an hour. And I'm sure you guys are maybe already doing this, but just take their name, phone number, and just say, if you want, there's a Tim Hortons or whatever down the street.
Yeah, we've done that in the past.
Perfect.
Well, okay, so it's not going to be, the video call is not going to be with you later?
No, it's going to be directly with the reporter. I'm going to reply back to him and just let him know that to connect directly with you. Do you have?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize. Like, I guess when she said interview, I didn't clue in. I thought that it was like a site review from like management. It's an actual interview.
Oh yeah. So sorry, it's an actual interview with a TV guy. Yeah, this is going to be on CTV or something.
Oh geez, good thing I showered today.
Part of what I do on a day-to-day basis right now is a lot of phone calls with landlords and business as a whole. Even as a landlord, it's all about relationships because they trust you as the person at the top of the company. A lot of the times I'm calling them just saying, hey, how's it going? How are things looking on your end? How's your family doing? And it's really just general conversations. And I like to be proactive because there's certain states that are just having a huge influx of infection rates for COVID-19. If we move out, they're going to have a empty unit for at least a few years, and they're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on brokerage fees trying to get someone in there. It's just not happening right now. And so the best thing to do is for both of us to stay whole somehow. So at least he's making something, I'm trying to make something and keep the lights on, and it's the best win-win. And that's honestly what the majority of my conversations relate to with landlords these days.
Hello.
Hey Oscar, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Yeah, could seen better days. How about you, man? How are things?
Everything's good.
Yeah.
I should send you the video.
Uh-huh.
I've got a sports arena Point Loma, kind of a few miles away from yours, and it's a gym.
Yeah.
And Governor Newsom closed down the gyms.
Yep.
So I'm watching the news on Fox News, and here he is on the because I refused to do it from the orders from King Newsom. I was dying laughing. He says, and the cops came. The cops came, and it was on the news.
I mean,
I'm not saying for you to do it. I'm just saying. I'll send it to you. It's funnier as shit. That's the owner of the gym.
Yeah, we're in trouble. The states are starting to step in, close everything down. People have that mentality of just, everything is shut down. There's more infection rates. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything indoors. And so anyways, we're running into a scenario, and I wanted to essentially put the bug in your ear that, we may have to figure something out for the short to medium term on the rent, because I think the revenue was 50% of our rent.
I'll work with you. Obviously, this is something that's affecting everybody. So
yeah.
I'll work with you, and try to get opened, and I'll work with you as far as short term for you.
Yep.
And then if you if you got to bail, you got to bail. I just know that the site's good.
Well, I mean, honestly, man, like, I mean, I've been really happy with that location. I mean, I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect fit. There's no other entertainment. There's nothing but bars, so it's a great nightlife alternative. It's just comparing the end of June to the last week of June, like literally in 4 days, we did the same amount of revenue all of July so far. Like, that's how much it's dropped. No, I wouldn't be calling you for that, man. No, we're talking about like, I'm literally doing about 7 to 8% of what would be my normal revenue at this period of time. So we're down well over 90%.